All right, y'all, we're live.
Woohoo! Yay!
Yay! Hey, everyone. So we are starting our webinar right now. So I'm Bernie. We have the rest of the founding team here. I don't know if you want to have a quick shout out, everyone.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And we also have two other guests, if our guests want to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, I'm Rini.
Hey, I'm Anne Marie.
Cool. So we're about to get started, but we'll wait around like 2 or 3 minutes for people to come in. And yeah, so we're very, very excited. It's going to be awesome. We have a lot of interesting questions to ask Rini and Anne-Marie about what it means to be a student at USC's campus, what it means to be a leader on campus, to encounter a lot of different situations and instances regarding identities of being a woman of color, and also just some really fun things about what it means to be a leader, what it means to be a person, what it means to be a college student that I think is applicable to a lot of us today. So we'll just wait 2 minutes, everyone, and then we'll start.
Is it okay if I just plug in my laptop real quick? You won't see me
Yeah,
for
you're
like a
good.
minute, I promise. I'll be back. Not leaving.
You're totally good.
All right, I'm back. Hi. Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Awesome, okay. So let's get started since there are some viewers here. So again, thank you so much for coming to our October webinar. We are Women Speak. We are a national young women's empowerment initiative. We're based in Los Angeles. We concentrate on kind of intergenerational mentorship and peer dialogue among high school and college students. We focus on four main areas, which is positive body image, healthy relationships, media literacy, and youth leadership. And we started in, like a little over a year ago, and we've gone national. We have chapters right now. And so we are just an organization that's really dedicated to opening up this conversation about women and girls, about what it means to be a young woman today. And so we are so glad to start this webinar series again this year. To kick off this webinar series, which is themed Her Story, as part of our initiative we launched this summer, we have Rini Sampath, who is the student body president at the University of Southern California. And we also have Anne-Marie Gillen, who is a Women Speak mentor who is also a student at USC. So we'll just go around with intros of who's on the Google Hangout right now. So again, I'm Bernie. I'm the executive director of Women Speak.
Hi, I'm Rini. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to talk to you all.
Hi, I'm Anna, the Director of Communications for Women Speak.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I am Director of Strategic Partnerships for Women Speak.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Anne Marie, and I'm a student at USC and a mentor for Women Speak.
Awesome. So we have a lot of really interesting things to ask Rini today and Anne-Marie. And again, these two guests are from USC, and they can really talk about a lot of what it means to be a woman on USC's campus. And if you want to read some of their work, we have it on our Facebook page, Women Speak Team, or facebook.com/Women Speak Team. So if you want to also look at that while you're watching the webinar, that would be really helpful. But I guess we'll start with questions. And first, we have a question for Rini, which is, what motivated you to run for student government and eventually student body president?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I think my path to student government leadership has really started since I was young. I think I've been running for positions, and I always joke about the slogans that I used to use. Like I legitimately thought that vote for Rini, don't be a meanie would be a winner. I think it works sometimes. Sometimes it didn't, but it was always a passion of mine since I was a kid. But I think that as I grew older, I did start to realize that student government and leadership isn't just about painting posters or putting on prom. There's so much more to it. And when I participated in it in high school, or sorry, in college, I realized there were so many advocacy opportunities. As a spring admit on USC's campus, I came in a semester later than most students. I actually went to Boston University for the first semester, and I really struggled with the transition onto campus. So one thing that I did was I joined student government in order to advocate for the spring admit students and have some reforms in place so that they have a better transition from a welcome week, a convocation where they actually get to be more integrated into campus, a mentorship program. These are all things that I was suggesting along with other students. We did a mock-up of a website that they could have. So along those lines, I started to notice other advocacy aspects that I really cared about, and that included students with disabilities, students of color, and that's how I became really motivated to want to pursue higher office. So I ran for vice president 2 years ago and was vice president of a student body, and then I ran again because I felt that being able to carry these projects on for an extra year would be very helpful and make a larger impact on our student body. So I'm really happy to be president now and work with an awesome team on our campus.
Awesome. So the second question could go to either both of you. Did you always consider yourself a leader?
Marie, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I could take that. I mean, I feel like going to an all-girls school and learning a lot about just what it means to be a leader in your everyday life. Wait, what was the question again?
Do you always consider yourself a leader?
Do I always consider myself a leader? I try to be a leader every day. Yeah, I try to be a leader every day and just be the best version of myself. I think is the definition of leadership.
Yeah, I think to add to that as well, there's I think a myth that leaders are born and not made, and I think that's completely untrue. So much of it is nurture, so much of it is like putting yourself out there and trying and going for new things. And I also think there's a myth around what a leader should look like. I know there's an awesome organization out there called Running Start, specifically to the point of a higher office and public office. There is a perception that a leader or a politician is a bad thing, or that only men can be politicians because we do have so few in public office. But I am also passionate about breaking down that stereotype, and that young women should be pursuing higher office and should be going for these positions, because that's where we can have representation and have change. So I think that everyone has it in them to be an amazing leader, and it's about putting yourself out there and growing through these various challenges.
Okay, next question. What are you most passionate about reforming for students at USC?
So there are three big issue areas for me personally, and I think the rest of our student government tackles a lot of other things. Our cultural assemblies work on diversity projects, our academic affairs committee, university affairs, they each have their own goals. But for me, when I came into this position, it was that I wanted to be a leader who actually uh, delivers results to the student body. If people are campaigning for something, they should be sticking to their words. So we have definitely accomplished a lot of things on our platform points and our goals. My Vice President Jordan and I have. Along with that, the three main issue areas for me have been college affordability, mental health, and sexual assault prevention. And all three of these things are related to campus climate as well, because your diversity, your intersectionality, who you are affects these three different things. For example, your socioeconomic status or maybe your immigrant status, all of these things impact your ability to afford college. Your mental health is impacted by things like your sexual orientation, your gender identity. So I've never really wanted to lump diversity into like a platform point or a goal, although I do think reforming campus climate is obviously such an important thing. I think it's ingrained in these other three issue areas. So I, at the end of the day, just have this kind of personal why of why I do everything is I want to see every student be able to live a happy and successful life with access to the resources that can bring them that personal success. And I think there are certainly a lot of barriers right now stopping some students from achieving that kind of personal success. And it's those things that I'm really determined to be able to break down along with a lot of people who are invested in these topics as well.
And before our lightning round break, I just want to also ask Emery and Rini, like, do these issues, like, how do they surface, or how do you really know that these are problems? Like, is it through like just talking with individuals, or are there like just certain instances, or like has sexual assault been has it been increasing on USC's campus, and like, or is it more so like top-down directed, like you kind of set the initiatives and that kind of sets the tone for the school year, that type of thing?
I guess I can give the student government perspective too, in that it tends to be what the students bring up and come forward with, but at the same time, it's on the student leaders themselves to say that that is an issue, because all of these things exist every single year. Mental health, college affordability, sexual assault, they never go away. But one thing that I've noticed is it is on the student government leaders to say, we need to look into it and we need to bring it up to the university administration, because easily these things could be overlooked and people don't have to pay attention to them. But the student government leaders are the ones with the access who can actually provide the students, connect students with the administration to make change happen. So that'd be my take.
And then Emery, oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would agree with Rini. Even just like that instance where that Facebook page that was shared a lot, with BuzzFeed and all that, that whole situation really empowered a lot of my own friends where, they had other things going on and they just never told me. Like my friend Selena felt empowered to share her story on Facebook because you did. So I think that is definitely really necessary, that we need leaders like you, Rini, who are able to share the situation so that way the student body can kind of like attest to these things happen, because they do happen all the time, and it's really frustrating, but it's good that you're able to talk about them.
Turning on the light. Sorry, Anne Marie, I was like in the dark while you were speaking, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool, so now we'll have a lightning round of fun questions that Emery can ask Rini, but then I think you should also answer them yourself. Because I think we're curious as well. Cool.
Okay. First question, what's your favorite song? My favorite song right now is Hot Bling.
My favorite song right now is Selena Gomez's "Hands to Myself." It's really good.
I gotta
And
listen
Kamikaze, but like anyway, Selena song's really good. Okay.
I have to listen to her revival album. I'm really interested. What do you think of Drake's new Hotline Bling video?
Really am empowered to wear turtleneck neck sweaters after that video.
Yeah, I love that video. What book would you recommend for women who are like struggling or need like some direction with leadership?
Uh, it's Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I know if you're looking for something from a female voice, I would definitely suggest Lean In. I know there's criticisms of that perspective as well, but I personally did find it to be an empowering novel. But I love Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And there's a great leadership book called Turn the Ship Around by David Marquette. It's a story of a commanding officer on a naval ship and things that he did to really empower his, well, the way that he puts it is emancipate his followers. It's a really cool book, so I'd suggest those.
Where did you go to high school?
Northwood High School in Irvine, California. Proud Timberwolf. I think this was our sign. I hope I'm doing it right, but otherwise, right now I'm a Trojan, so.
Okay.
Was this a
That's
Zot?
cool.
I don't know. Something like that.
I
Yeah.
think this is a Zot. This is
Oh,
like
that's right.
that is the Zot. Those are all my questions.
Awesome.
Cool, thanks. Awesome. Okay, so next question is, a lot of press have been kind of talking about the racial slurs that you encountered on campus recently. So what happened during the situation, and what motivated you to speak up about what you experienced?
Yeah, so I've definitely spoken to a lot of different groups about what happened too, and it's been getting brought up because of a lot of the press coverage. I personally didn't expect it to get so much attention. I mean, I wrote this in order to have our student community aware of what's going on, because about a year ago around this exact time, a group of students and myself, we presented to our student senate on the resolution for an expanded safe space for members of our African American or Black community. And a lot of the things that students brought up when we presented that resolution are things like what happened to me happening to them. And a lot of people didn't exactly believe it. They said, well, it's the 21st century, it's 2015, there's no way students are being accused of stealing a bike that's not theirs because they're Black, or being profiled on campus by campus police, or just a whole slew of things. And for me, I knew when that happened to me that this is happening to so many other students on our campus, and it needs to be known and it needs to be heard, and I wanted other students to speak up as well. And I think it has definitely created a heightened sense of awareness on our campus. But now, one thing that I've kept saying over and over, the story is not about me, the story is about all of the other students, the other groups, because as much as we want to dismiss it as an isolated incident, it's not an isolated incident. These are the lived experiences of so many students from various backgrounds, sexual orientation, whatever it might be. So it's now time for them to have a sense of justice and for them to have a platform. It's always been their turn to speak up. So if I'm able to provide that, by recognizing my own privilege in that I'm student body president, I have a platform where people are able to listen, or things that I post get that kind of coverage, then I want to be able to provide those students a space as well. So I'm really excited about the student community coming together to put together a resolution and a list of requests for the administration to change the culture on our campus by addressing the systematic problems and barriers that allow this culture to continue. So, yeah.
So the next question is, what challenges have you faced as a woman of color in office?
Think that there's always the everyday microaggressions, things that we're all concerned about as women of color. One thing, I don't know if any of you watch Scandal, but Shonda Rhimes is amazing, and she always knows the right things to say. There's an amazing clip from the show that came out recently, and Huffington Post and a few other outlets started covering it because it was so intriguing. And Shonda Rhimes, she integrates this idea of dog whistle politics into the narrative of the show, and she talks about how one of Olivia Pope's gladiators talks about how a lot of the media and the press address her in particular ways, which is in such coded language that the only people who can understand are, well, I don't want to say victims, but the targets of this kind of language themselves. So that sometimes, the comments about outfits or calling somebody ambitious and articulate, as much as those things sound extremely positive, the way in which some people say them do have a connotation that is negative. Bossy, sassy, and you wonder if a man would receive those kinds of comments. So I think being cognizant, whether you're a man or a woman, what we're saying to another woman or a woman of color is something that we definitely need to do, because language has a huge impact. I know Sheryl Sandberg created this awesome initiative about, I'm a boss, not bossy, that whole thing. And some people find it to be policing language, or that it's just being too politically correct. But if we don't recognize the impact our language has, there's no way that I can actually see us changing the culture. So I definitely think that's been a challenge, the way in which maybe my leadership is perceived in contrast with a man's. I think it's something that all women face every day, is how do you overcome those challenges? And for me, it's just keeping on. So, yeah.
Okay, so excuse me, our next question for you is, what are you hoping to do when you graduate? And I know it's kind of a little stressful, but like, do you have any plans, or what are you excited for?
Sure. Actually, over the summer, I worked for a really amazing firm called SKD Knickerbocker. They've represented clients like Planned Parenthood. They worked on the marriage equality case, and their specialty is communications and PR for these kinds of campaigns and causes. And for the longest time, with an international relations degree, I'm thinking, like, what do I do out of graduation? It's not like me and my friends who have investment banking firms knocking on their doors. So for me, it was like figuring out what my passion is, and I think right now that's supporting these kinds of causes and campaigns and candidates. And then what I would say, what I've really honed in terms of my skills in college, which is writing and speaking and things like that. So using those, I think, into that field. I'd love to just work at a public affairs firm after graduation, hopefully move to DC and experience that world. I'm all about encouraging young women to pursue leadership positions and go for it, because we've got to break the stigma when it comes to those things as well, and be more open in talking about them. So those are my plans right now. However, I am currently unemployed after graduation, like most seniors. So, yeah.
We totally feel your struggle. And so, yes, Kirsten is usually based in DC, so y'all can be besties.
I would love that. That'd be awesome.
So we do have some viewers who have questions. So anyone who's watching, you're free to ask questions. It's a live Q&A. As you submit, we get them, and then we can post them. And so, yeah, just submit your questions. But so here's the first statement, which is not really a question, but we felt like we should highlight that.
Oh, okay.
Cool. And so this is the actual question. What would you suggest for women who are introverted but still want to make a difference in the community at USC?
Oh, okay, that's awesome. I know there's a really, really good book that one of my best friends, her mom, has suggested to me a lot. I need to still get around to reading it, but I know the gist of the book, and I would suggest reading it too if you are an introverted person. It's called Quiet, and it talks about the power of introverts and the way in which they can impact a community. And one of the best examples, I think, of an introverted individual who is so powerful, I would say, is my 13-year-old sister. She's naturally a shy person. She's quiet, but I love her so much, and I know the impact that she's able to make with the support and the love that she provides people around her. I think naturally there are going to be people who are more outspoken, but without the people who are willing to be the support, willing to be the behind the scenes, I don't think the world can work. The world can't operate. So I think find your niche. Like, what can you offer? What can you do that can really make a show run? You know, a show does take the front and center people, but it also takes the stage hands. It takes the people who are doing the behind the stage work. So I think that kind of work is integral in so many different clubs, and campus orgs. So if you have something you're passionate about, maybe it is this kind of advocacy work on campus, there are definitely positions for you on those committees to make that kind of change. You can always talk to me too, and I'm sure I can help find something. So first and foremost, it's just remember you're so valued in that you can definitely make a change in our community despite being an introvert or an extrovert.
Cool, thank you. And then I think I had a question. Are there any female role models or just role models in general, not necessarily who are women, that you like particularly look up to?
Definitely. I always think that I've always said my dad is my number one role model, and it also goes to the idea of how important it is for women to have allies in their life and to have people who support and love them. My dad is my number one role model because he's always open to talking to me about these different things, like women in leadership, and yeah, he's just always been there for me and been a support system. So if there are any men out there who are watching or listening, remember having you be there for someone who's looking into pursuing a career or making an impact. Just be there for them and be an ally, a good ally.
Cool. Any other questions from the audience or from Anna or Kristen? Is there anything exciting at USC that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I think next weekend is the Weekender, so I am excited to go to San Francisco. But also, I'm actually going to Chicago in the week after, around November 4th, because there is a conference that's being hosted by the Department of Education on racial harassment in higher education. It's a special convening. So I'm really looking forward to taking a lot of the work that we're doing on the ground here at USC to a national level and to talk to other student leaders about how they're making change on their campuses. So I'm looking forward to that convening that's coming up next 2 weeks from now. So yeah.
And then I think if there are no other questions, this might be the last question, but what is kind of like the daily routine of like Rini? If you have a daily routine, like what does a typical day look like?
Yeah, sure, sure. For me, I am not a breakfast eater, which my mom will be very upset about to hear. I don't eat breakfast. So I'm out the door in the morning, pretty early riser. I'm usually up like at hopefully around 7:45. I don't really sleep in and stuff. I think that counts as sleep, like early riser, right? Okay, cool, cool. Um, and then yeah, so as president, I have to host 20 office hours in the office, and most of them consist of me being at meetings or actually physically being in the office working on things. There are usually some events that go on campus. Try to remember that I'm also a student, so I'm trying to get work done in between. But for me, in terms of relaxing, having fun, it's all about getting to see my friends and being around them, because that definitely is what makes me happiest, being around the people I love. So that's the typical day.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate you, of course, like taking the time out of your busy schedule. And of course, just supporting Women Speak and vice versa. Like if there's anything we can do, like again, we like love the work you're doing. And it's just so brave that people are starting this conversation like you on your campus. So
Thank you.
yeah, again, so everyone, this is Rini and Marie. They're both based in USC. And if you have any questions, do let us know. If you want to get in contact with Rini, you can definitely email us at womenspeakteam@gmail.org, and then we can forward all of the questions to Rini or Anne-Marie. But anyways, also check us out on our website, which is womenspeakteam.org. We have a lot of exciting things coming up, so please keep us in your mind. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for suggesting this webinar to actually happen. This was really all Anne-Marie's idea. So
Thanks, Anne-Marie. She rocks.
yeah,
She's a star.
You rock, Rini.
yeah.
I love this. All right. Well, thanks, ladies. Hope you have an awesome rest of your evening or early morning, Kristen. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.